unmute yourself and be quiet while I introduce the show.
If you are just joining us, I'm Lauren from RDU on Stage. Thank you for being here. And thanks to all these young people. Juan, you had put together a good looking panel tonight. If you have any questions, put them in the RDU on Stage Facebook page comments. That way, Juan and I will see them and he'll be able to respond or ask the kids. And thanks, guys. Thanks, Juan, for doing this amazing panel tonight. And I will see you guys soon. Together, a good-looking panel tonight.
Left the mic on. Okay. Hello, everyone, and not you guys. Everyone that's out watching tonight. We have a special torn panel tonight. It is the younger generation, and I am really excited about doing this with these group of guys. I have worked with almost everyone up here. I think with maybe the exception of one or two people, but y'all, those of you who know me know I adopt young people quickly. So they're my nieces now. So that's a given. And I'm excited that they accepted and they wanted to discuss. We are going to discuss more than just racism tonight because nobody has really asked young people what they're feeling and what they've been dealing with for the past 7 months, because 2020 has been a ridiculous year for everyone, but definitely for them. So we're going to get started. Now, this is what I want you guys to do, and this is how I want you guys to do it. This is the only part of this whole thing that is going to be organized. Okay. I want you, and write it down if you have to. Wait a minute, she clicked the pen. I'm hearing a little feedback and something.
I can mute myself if you want.
Mute yourself and let me see. Okay, let me keep talking and see if that's it. Nope, it's not yours. I think it might be yours, Jerry. Let me see. Testing 1, 2. Yeah, Jerry, it's something with yours. I don't know what it is. Are you on the computer or on the phone, Jerry?
I'm on a computer.
I don't know why that's doing that.
I think it's fine.
Just okay. Well, we'll just deal with it. Okay, so I want 4 things from you. I want your name, your first name and your last name. I want your nationality. Now understand, I don't want to know what you identify as, none of that. I want your nationality. I want your age, and I want what you do or have done in theater. That's it. Jarius, I know, and don't worry. And if I need to help any of you, because like I said, you are my nieces and nephews, I will help you with that. There's no, this is informal, as I said. All right, so let's start with, on my screen, I'm just gonna start. Mr. Cashwell, if you would answer those 4 questions.
So I'm Benjamin Cashwell. I am European and Native American. I'm 15 and I'm an actor.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sam Davis.
I'm Sam Davis, European. I'm 15 and I'm an actor.
Okay. Jarius.
Okay. I'm Jarius Copany. I am African American. I'm 16 and I'm a basketball player / film director.
Okay. Now, Jarius is also modest because Jarius, you have been in plays and you were an actor and you also were a dancer.
Oh yeah, that was.
But okay, Leilani.
I'm Leilani Diamond. I'm a Puerto Rican Greek Jew. I'm 13 And I'm a singer, actor, dancer, any art, you name it.
Okay. Ben?
I'm Benjamin Jones. I think I'm Welsh and Irish, and I'm 13, and yeah, like Leilani, if you can name it, I do it. I play instruments, I act, I paint, I everything basically.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Alyssa?
Hi, my name is Alyssa Wise. I am an African American. I am 17 years old and I am a singer, actor, and dancer.
Okay, thank you. Ricardo? Turn your mic on, Ricardo.
I think you're muted.
It's muted.
Hey everyone, I'm Ricardo Rezon. I'm African American and Filipino. I'm 17 and I'm an actor.
Okay, and Chloe.
Hi, I'm Chloe Calhoun, 18 years old. I'm generally European and I do all the musical theater things. I'm about to go to Rider University in the fall to study musical theater.
Okay, thank you. Now, this one I just want a show of hands. Was everybody on this panel born, Leilani, was everybody on this panel born in this country? Yes or no? Raise your hand if you were born in this country. Okay. So you can put your hands down. I'm sorry. I guess I got it. Okay. So technically, your nationality is an American, correct? Okay. So I appreciate you giving me your background, your ethnic backgrounds, but your nationality is an American. Understand that. And that's all you have to give. You don't have to give anything else. That is your nationality. When someone asks you, what is your nationality? I am an American. I was born in America. If someone is from Mexico, they can say, I am an American, because Mexico is in America. This is the United States of America. Of is the important word in that statement. Canada is in America. This is a continent of America. That's all you have to say. Now, if someone asks you, what is your heritage? You can state the things that you told me. It's not a wrong answer. It's just the way we have been programmed. It's just the way that we have been taught. And that's why we are here tonight. I'm not trying to deprogram you. I'm trying to make you see, eyes wide open, what is around you, Leilani, and what is going on in your world. Okay? All right. So let's go from there. First, the next question I have for you, and I'll call on you guys, and everybody's going to answer. I'm going to ask everyone to answer this. What age were you when you realized there was a difference between you and someone else? Now, when I say that, like looking at the screen, looking at Ben Cashwell, there is a physical difference between Ben and Ben is right here beside me on my screen. There's a physical difference between Ben and myself. So what age were you when you first saw someone that did not look like you? And what did you think? So let me start with Sam.
I guess the first time I guess I kind of noticed was when I participated in Black Nativity, and I was with Jarius and Alyssa, and I was really young, so I can't really like remember what I thought of it, but I remember like I'm a little kid, so like I don't really remember anything, but I don't remember thinking any different of it. But I remember it was like the first time it was like different, because I mean I live in like a majority white neighborhood, and I went, my elementary school I went to is mostly white people. But compared to where I go to Enloe now, but like it's different. But I guess I remember probably Black Nativity was the first time.
Okay, thank you. Leilani?
noticed a couple years ago, actually, like 2 or 3, and I can't remember when, but I still, for some reason, just don't really see a difference between me and someone else.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Alyssa?
I agree with Sam. I did do Black Nativity with him, and in that show, it really kind of opened my eyes with all different kinds of people, with the type of show it is. Considering, there's like not many Black actors or Black people majority in like my neighborhood or at school in general. So I think Black Nativity was the first show where I truly saw a difference.
Okay. Ricardo?
I think the first time I really paid attention to the differences around us was when I was in kindergarten, actually. I used to have a lot more hair than I do now. And people always used to come up to me and touch my hair. And they used to say things about me. And then I would look around and nobody had hair like I did. Because the school I went to, there were very few Black kids. And I started to notice that difference.
Okay, thank you. Chloe?
I mean, noticing people who are different than me, I think it goes all the way back than when I have memory of my cognitive function. I mean, like in preschool, I had friends who all looked different than me, but as a kid, you don't think anything of it. Like my best friend at the time, who like had darker skin and curly hair, like sure, she looked different than me, but we were still friends. So just I've always noticed people who have been different than me, but it wasn't until later years that like you realize how people are treated differently because of what they look like. But that's a bit of a different topic.
Thank you. Okay. For the sake of this, BJ, Ben Jones, because I got
Yeah.
two Bens.
I think like Chloe, it was basically I always knew that there were people around me that were different from me. But I guess I just realized in like maybe 3rd or 4th grade. And at that point we weren't being treated any differently. It was just I realized, hey, those people are slightly different from me. I didn't really think anything of it because I was a kid. And I still
Okay.
am, technically.
Okay. Jerry's?
For me, it was probably around preschool, kindergarten, and like since preschool, I've been going to like mixed schools. So all the time, I'm surrounded by people of different races and ethnicities who look different than me. So I just never really thought anything of it, and I kind of had friends from like all the different sides and different backgrounds. So I didn't really set in like the difference in like skin tone. It was just like these people are my friends, kind of like that. So
All right. BC?
Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of mirror what everybody else said, which is kind of like, you always notice that there's people who are different than you, but it never really like registers how different, like how, like, obviously we're all, like you were saying, we're all the same nationality, but that slight difference in our skin tone makes such a difference in society. So I don't think it was probably in Blood Done Sign My Name, actually, when I really like was able to register like how much your skin tone can mean.
Okay. All right. So that was what, 2 years ago. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you all for that one. Let me ask you all this one. And you can all raise your hand to this, and because then that's going to lead me to my next question. Did a parent speak to any of you? And again, raise your hand. Did a parent speak to you about racism? Okay, 4 of you. Okay, so out of you 4, let's start with Jarius. How old were you when a parent spoke to you about racism?
I'd probably say I was kind of told about it third grade, but I wasn't really given like a full explanation until like fourth grade. And that's when I started to get talks from my parents about racism and how the different forms it can take and just stuff like that. So,
Okay. Leilani, same question.
Okay, I was around third grade as well, and my mom just like confronted me about it because I kind of felt left out from how different I looked, but I didn't really care until someone like came up to me and they were like, "Hey, you look so different," and so I asked my mom and she confronted me about it.
Okay, Ricardo.
I think for me, it was when I was 9 years old. It was when the Trayvon Martin trial was going on TV, and my parents, my mom especially, would put it on after she would get home from work in the evening, and then I would sit in the family room and I would watch the trial proceedings go on and hear them talk about it on the news, and none of it made any sense to me. So she would try to explain to a kid, what happened and why the circumstances were different for the person that was on trial for killing somebody. And it was hard for me to grasp that at first.
And Alyssa, same thing.
If I can remember, I think it was 8th grade in middle school. My mom really didn't confront me about it until I had experienced it. So it would be more of a genuine conversation between the two of us. So I had an experience about racism in 8th grade. And when I confronted my mom about it, we sat down and we had a genuine conversation about it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you all for that. And just looking at that, guys, an observation that I just made. Did you guys see that? Did you guys see the same thing I saw with that? You did. Okay. And I say it the way I say it because sometimes grown-ups, and I'm not going to say your parents, because usually parents understand it more than outside grown-ups. Grown-ups would tell me that I shouldn't be having this discussion with you right now because I'm introducing something to you guys that you don't know, but you guys just nodded your head at what I just said. And that is the people of color had to be told this at a young age. And for the most part, the people who were not of color haven't had this conversation and haven't had to have this conversation. It's unfortunate, but it is true. I don't know why. Leilani, your mom says she can't see you. I don't know why. You need to get some light on you or something. Your mom. I'm just telling you what your mama said. You know mamas. Mama gonna say they can't see you.
Yeah, here,
so,
here. Right here. Gonna pull up a flashlight.
Mama, don't put that in the comments that you don't want me to say anything about because I'm gonna say something. Okay, but nevertheless, but it is that way, and I am glad that you guys all nodded your head and acknowledged it. That is a step because that leads to discussion, and I really appreciate that. Let's go to COVID. Exactly. So I'm going to start this one with Chloe because Chloe, and the rest of you guys, let's clap for Chloe because she graduated this year.
Wow.
Now, Chloe, what was that like? Where did you graduate from?
Enloe High School.
What was that like what kind of graduation did you have? Because I forget from school to school what they were.
I'm happy I at least had one. It was a very socially distant graduation. All I could bring was only a few members of my family. And just me, we all had to wear masks the whole time. The only time you got to take a mask off is when I got to take a picture with my diploma. But I showed up in my cap and gown. I was happy. I got to, it was a whole like map out of the school. Like it's only like a one way in, one way out. You walk in, you go into the auditorium one at a time. Like there's no anything. The only crowd I got is my family. But honestly, for me personally, that's all I needed. I was just expecting to get my diploma in the mail. That was more than what I was expecting anyway. I was like, girl, as long as I get my diploma, I'm out of here. No offense, but I'm done. So, yeah, it's just been for me, like, I don't really know what to say about it. It's like I've been so immersed in like the initial sadness or also like the denial too. It's like it really set in, but also I feel like I'm desensitized to it now. I'm like, oh yeah, that happened. I graduated in the midst of a pandemic, but for me personally, it's the achievement that counts. I finished my high school education. I kind of caught all of this on a good wave because number one, my senioritis was crazy. I did not want to do any of my schoolwork, so it was it hit at the right time for me personally, but yeah. it was kind of sad to see. Normally like the huge like final out with a bang did not happen, especially because my school musical that was just going to open in a few days, it didn't get to happen. But what can we do?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah, that's kind of how I feel. We have like words. I mean, I said many words, but it's because I don't really have a single like adjective to describe how I feel, if that makes sense.
Oh, a lot of sense. Honestly, that's why I asked, because this is something that hasn't happened in anybody's lifetime that's here. So, it's like, how do you deal with this? How do you go about this? But with that being said, I am going to ask everyone else, starting with Alyssa, because I'm going to see if I can get you to stop sneezing. What have you been doing since March?
Well, of course, it was the virtual learning for school. But after that, I've been taking Stella Adler classes. It's a New York acting program thing in New York City. So I have been taking those classes virtually. And I think that's it most of the time. Also looking at colleges, of course, what they require. That's taking up most of my time, and reading the driver's ed manual for my permit test. So basically, also in the summer, I did for the like past 2 months study for the ACT, and I already took that a few weeks ago. So mainly those main things took up all of my summer. So yeah.
Okay. Ricardo, what have you been doing since March?
So yeah, same as Alyssa. I've been doing a lot of I did virtual learning for the first few months after March. And then I'm taking online classes with summer programs that got canceled in person. So I've been doing that. And I've been putting a lot of time into writing college essays for when applications open up next month.
Okay, thank you. Leilani, what have you been doing since March?
Well, actually, I just started I started working at Marvel's Museum, which is really good because I would have had to do schoolwork throughout the whole summer. So, so that was good. In April, we were gonna go to Cancun, which is in Mexico, at the very tip. But that was canceled. We got lucky because we got a little bit of our money back, and it was spring break, and so it's a good thing that we didn't go. But let's see what else. I've had a lot more time with my family now that COVID has started, and I've had a lot more time to like sing. I've been writing songs a lot as well, and yeah.
Okay. All right.
It hasn't really affected me that much, but I'd still like to see my friends a little bit bigger than this big.
Right. Understandable. Okay. BJ. I had to think about my bees.
Hey, BJ.
Yeah, I did virtual learning. Um, my school is gonna start in 2 weeks, I think. Yeah, I think 2 weeks. And yeah, I've been doing a lot of reading, a lot of sleeping, a lot of baking. I my birthday has come, so well, it was a while ago.
Happy
Um,
birthday!
yeah,
Belated.
very
Happy
late
birthday.
birthday.
Belated, yeah.
And I got a ukulele, so I've
Oh.
learned how to play the ukulele. I've been drumming almost daily, and my drum set is right there. So I've been doing that pretty much daily now. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I wake up, I eat, I read, I eat, I read, I eat, and I go to sleep.
And ukulele and drum. So, Catherine, you have lost all of your mind. That is his mother, y'all, at home that are watching. He has driven her crazy. Sam, what have you been doing since March?
Yeah, so I had online learning, and then after that I started trying to pick up piano a little bit and started been working on that. It's figured like now's the time. But yeah, and I spend a lot more time with my family and stuff like that, which has also been kind of a blessing because both of my parents work and I'm at school, so sometimes it's kind of hard to touch base. So it's kind of good. But commenting on it's been crazy. It's been 7 months because I just saw like something on like Instagram that was like 7 months ago. I didn't notice it was, and they're all like, "Yo, do you guys think school's gonna get canceled and stuff like that?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this was 7 months ago. I can't believe it's been that long." Yeah.
BC?
Yeah, so obviously online learning. I mean, obviously I wish I could say I've been like doing a bunch of productive things, but I can't because I'd be lying. No, I've done a little bit. The first part of quarantine, like when school was happening, we played a lot of volleyball. We set up a volleyball net in my backyard. Just a lot of time spent hanging out with my family, watching a bunch of shows. Tiger King. Yeah, that's about it. Went to the beach, had my birthday, and then I did driver's ed.
It's driver's ed time. And Jarius.
For me, I was actually like sick. I caught a cold like right before quarantine started, and I had like this big project coming up in like 2 weeks. So like when I heard about like quarantine, it was kind of like it was like off. I was like, I know I should be happy, but like I'm kind of happy. But for the most part, I like once quarantine hit, it was like I have all the time in the world now. So I started training with basketball like every day, and then like besides that, then we got school stuff, so I had to get that in here and there. But then I started like my film like empire that I'm trying to create, and I've been shooting, directing, editing like hours of film and trying to learn Adobe After Effects, which has been the hardest like to learn because I'm learning Premiere Pro and Adobe After Effects, and editing like was hard. Like everybody who edits and does special effects on any type of movie has my utmost respect because that thing takes time and definitely patience, because I've definitely gotten frustrated where I just had to close the computer and just set it aside for a little bit because it's been hectic. Like there's this one thing that I'm stuck on that I had to take a break from, and I've learned everything through YouTube. YouTube University is probably the best university out there right now.
There's such thing as YouTube University.
Yeah, YouTube University is the best. I mean, you search up whatever class you need. I said, hey, I looked up how to do Premiere Pro, how to do certain transitions, how to different frames, all that, and popped right up. YouTube University. This is not a sponsored ad. I'm not sponsoring YouTube. I need to get paid for that.
You know what? And now that you guys are speaking on that, we're gonna go back to where we started. You guys are very well versed on social media, and so well versed that the majority of you are not on Facebook. You're not well versed on social media. Well, okay, so Ben is the baby of the group, so he's not really on it yet. I'm sure as time goes by.
I'm not really on it.
I'm not a huge fan of social media myself.
Are you
Yeah,
on Instagram?
I'm not on many social medias.
I'm
You're
on
not.
Instagram, but it's on my mom's phone.
Are you okay, Ben? Ben, I know your mom is not ready for you to be on that stuff. Okay, you probably know more about it than I do. And let's put it that way. Have you? What do you think of the things you've seen out in the public when it comes to the protests and the things going on with the with the reason like that we have torn, and I probably won't do everyone here. I'm just gonna yep, Ben, go do what you gotta do. I would just do certain ones. Oh wait, let me ask that one, because you're about to do college, so go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Honestly, when I say this, it's kind of like a good thing, but also kind of a scary thing. Social media, specifically Instagram, has kind of become one of the main sources of where I get my information. I know that sounds scary because, it's not always the most trustworthy, but also that's kind of, at the same time, it kind of is most trustworthy because a lot of times you hear things from primary sources and directly from the source, whereas other like kinds of media can also be like filtered or censored in any sort of way. But specifically about the protests, it's kind of taught me everything I know. It was because of those I learned about things that were going on specifically in downtown Raleigh. I went to like 3 protests, I think last month or 2 months ago, and it was through those like networks that I was able to follow like NC Born on Instagram and a bunch of other like organizations that have just come up. And I think it's through social media and people like me who are trying to learn more. I'm finding a lot of like infographics from a variety of different sources about a lot of different things, whether it be like breaking, like just new news or things that are being ignored by media, or at least media, I don't know. It's kind of, and I'm reposting a lot of information, at least because I feel like I have a platform on my social media at least, and so I'm going to use it, and I've been trying to like find other resources I've been putting in my bios. I like a lot of people I know have been making like link trees where they have a lot of petitions to sign. Through social media, I found so many petitions, so many things to watch and like educate myself on. So that was a very long answer of me saying social media pretty much taught me, or it's given me all the outlets and information where I can teach myself everything that's going on and everything that I have missed for so many years. So
no, it wasn't too long of an answer. Alyssa, what you doing that I'm hearing all the echo? Listen, like what, it wasn't too long of an answer, and I'll tell you the reason why. It's because you've been down to 3 protests. And has anyone else up here been to any protests? I didn't think so.
We were thinking about it, but we never actually went.
Okay. So I'm interested to talk to people that have been to protests. I have not been down to a protest because your mom said you've been down to protests with certain rules, within certain rules. That's what she said, Chloe. But yeah, your mom. I haven't been down to any of them because I'm old. Ain't nobody getting ready to do all that walking. I'm tired. I ain't got bring the car around. No, I would go if I had y'all. I would. But I definitely appreciate hearing that and hearing what you're saying about Instagram, because I never heard it put that way, that it's firsthand, not someone writing something and it may be false information. That's one of my pet peeves. And I've gotten flack from some Black people on Facebook because I asked a question. It was a situation of people putting up there about 5 people getting lynched, 5 Black people getting lynched in 1 week. And I questioned it. And they thought I was questioning about Black people getting lynched and that I was for it. I wasn't for it. I'm like, show me where it says 5 Black people got lynched in 1 week. I didn't say where they got lynched, but in 1 week. And they couldn't show it to me. So then you're going off rumor and speculation. And that's one reason why I asked you guys about social media and what you guys are doing. Ricardo, you've been to a protest. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, I went to the first Black Students Matter protest in downtown Raleigh, organized by the Wake County Black Student Coalition. And like Chloe said, they were able to bring out a lot of people, even 2 members of the Wake County Board of Education, by the power of social media. If we didn't have that medium to post graphics and send them around and like repost on our stories and everything, then we would have not have got people out there. But they were able to bring 2 of the 3 major local news organizations out there to cover us, and it made us feel heard, not just seen in the picture, but heard. And that was very important to, especially the voices of students.
Okay. Thank you. That was great information, because like I said, I haven't been out there. I've just seen stuff on TV. BJ, I see you nodding your head. What are your thoughts on I've seen 2 types of protests. I've seen the protests that start and end up in riots, and then I've seen the more peaceful type of protests. What are your thoughts on the 2 different types?
So I think that the people that go to the rallies that eventually end up in riots, I think maybe they haven't gone to the more peaceful ones because maybe they just haven't heard of them and how those are more of a success to the cause, because I guess the ones that end up in riots, those just harm everybody because it makes the cause seem really horrible and violent. But in reality, there's other people trying to settle it peacefully. And I guess, like I said, the people that start the riots or the protests that end up in riots, I think they're just trying to. I think they have their heart in a good place. They're just trying to fight for it too hard, and maybe they exaggerate things in their own head, like, oh, there was like one person that maybe just kind of ignored me because they were doing something else or whatever, and then they just kind of turned that into nobody will listen. We have to do things in a way that will make them listen. And yeah, I think that's just. I think it starts out good, but then they just kind of take it a little bit too far.
Okay. Jarius, same question.
I want to touch on what BJ said, just because I feel the same way about, like, when people riot, it's kind of like there are some people who they have kind of turned to rioting as a form to express how they feel, and I feel like those are the people, like BJ said, that feel like nothing's getting done, and it's just a lot of anger built up. It's like you keep seeing your brothers and sisters die in the streets by the hands of police officers. Nothing happens to these officers, and it's like we just keep getting treated like trash, and it's like that builds up, and some people want to express it in a more violent way. But then I also want to touch on how there have been a few of them where people who see the Black Lives Matter movement as just trouble have tried to start riots when they were originally peaceful protests, and those don't. I feel like when they did happen, like a lot of people are like, oh, people are starting riots when everybody's trying to peacefully protest. Like I saw this one where this cop, I think he was either an ex-cop or he was a cop, and he like covered up in like all black, had an umbrella, and started breaking windows. And before that, nobody was rioting. Everybody was like totally peaceful. And then when he started breaking windows, people started questioning him, and then he just kind of ran away. And it's like people like that is it's kind of hard to see, because it's crazy that people have hate to where they would, you know, want to disturb peace. And so I do agree with BJ as well, where peaceful protests, you know, have more of an impact, because you feel more empathy for the person just in general. Like when you see somebody getting beat up on, you know, and they're just going about their day, it's like you want to help them. You want to see them, you know, not in that position. So I feel like peaceful protests are the way to go. So
Thank you for that. Sam, I want to ask you a question. Okay, so they're tearing down statues in downtown Raleigh. Well, all over the country, but in downtown Raleigh. And they tore down the 75-foot statue in front of the Capitol that had been up for decades. And underneath it, they found a time capsule. Why do you think a time capsule would be underneath? Why do you think a time capsule would be underneath a monument that? Why do you think a time capsule would be underneath that monument?
I mean, like you said, it's been around forever, so I guess it would be like when the like the town evolves and stuff is getting moved, when they see it and they got the time capsule, it's just kind of a sense of showing how much it was different from back then. And on terms of like tearing down on like statues and stuff like that, I mean, I personally feel like the Confederate statues and stuff like that, they don't really belong in the streets. I feel like they belong in museums, because like heritage and history belong in museums, right? And so I just don't think it's right that they have like Confederate statues up and stuff like that. And I mean, if most people think that it's like, oh, these were built after the Civil War, no, they were built during the Civil Rights Movement, in a way when it was happening in the South, and people were trying to protest and saying, listen, we need to actually pass some legislation to stop segregation. They're like, okay, well, we're going to start building Confederate statues in your neighborhood, and we're going to build them in these places where all these people are. So I think people talking about, oh, it's heritage, I don't think that's really right. I think that's it. If you guys want to keep them, they belong in a museum to talk about how freaking terrible it was back in the day and how terrible it is now still.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's a time capsule?
A time capsule is, okay, so you take a bunch of artifacts. Well, it's not artifacts now. Okay, so like you take your old, you take something that you have now, and you take all of this stuff and you put it in a metal box, and you bury it in the ground, and you say, and you put a plaque or something over it, and you say, this is not to be open for 100 years. And then in 100 years, they open it, and people 100 years from now look at it and say, oh, this is what they had 100 years ago, and keepsakes and old, like a diary or something like that. And so they call it a time capsule because does that make sense? Because it represents previous time, old times. So, and that's what they found underneath the Confederate statue. And Sam, I appreciate that answer. I love that answer. I just found it kind of strange that there was a time capsule under something that I assumed that they were going to build to be there forever.
Right.
And I felt like time capsule under there, then maybe they knew when they built it that they were wrong for building it, and that
maybe that's right. Yeah, you're right.
That's a really good point. Yeah, Chloe. Yeah. That your face, Chloe. Yeah, exactly. They knew they were wrong when they built it.
It's interesting because I'm actually at the protests where it all happened. I left right before, like, actually the tearing down happened right before it got dark because we heard there was riot gear coming out. We're like, we're out of here. But it was interesting because I saw it all kind of play out, the build up to how it happened. It was a very interesting like sight to see, just and to be there. It was and like we like took our huge march, but when we came back, some of the protesters were ready to kind of take it down, and then as we walked a little bit further because we wanted to go to the governor's mansion and come back, it was all armed and all the police officers were all around there to protect the statue. And then we did the entire time as the cops were taking down the ropes that were on there, and we were all yelling, it's like, who are you serving for this? Like, we were all yelling, who do you protect? Who are you serving? Like, by this statue that was built to honor I think that to our Confederate brother.
It tastes like to our Confederate dead or something like that.
Yeah. We were just wondering, like, what are you here for? It was built at a time that was at the peak of like reminiscing on the antebellum period, like where you have Birth of the Nation, the movie Scarlett O'Hara Gone with the Wind. You have like, it's that peak, like, oh, the good old days where people knew their place. Like, that's when all of these monuments were built. The fact that it's on government property, kind of showing the government, like every government official is looking at that monument. It's not just the statue, just what everything that it stood for, and just the ideology that it stood for and how that might influence our government's mentality in making decisions. So we're just questioning, like, why are you protecting something that was just so built on hate? Why are you here for this? And that's why the hostility went up like through the roof. And then obviously riot gear came out. We're like, let's get out of here. And so we were like in the car, like where I just got the news. My mom texted me like they just tore it down. And then we were like, we screamed, like so much celebration happening. I don't know how exactly it went down because I didn't see it, but I don't know. I just know it, and now that I learned that there was a time capsule under there, that puts a lot of thoughts in my head.
Yeah, like I said, you put a time capsule somewhere because at some point you want it to be unearthed, and you want people to look at it and to see it. So, did someone somewhere know that there was a time capsule under there? And if they did know, was there ever a plan to remove the statue and get the time capsule out? Or did the time capsule surprise everybody? And if it did surprise everybody, then why was it put under there to begin with? Because whoever originally put it under there probably, and this is just me speculating, said, well, we know this is wrong, and it probably ain't gonna stay down here for so long. We just gonna put a time capsule down here anyway. Because somebody with some sense is gonna realize we shouldn't have this thing here anyway. So they're going to take it up. But, we were so dumb, we left it down there for decades. We left the whole statue there for decades. Yes, your mom asked. Yes, the time capsule was opened and there was so-called something from Robert E. Lee was in there, some wood from his cabin or something like that. And Mom, I'm not even 100% sure, because when they start saying what was in it, it was all Confederate stuff that they were saying. And I was like, I tuned out at that point. I was like, I don't really even care anymore. So it just worked right out my brain. I was like, yeah, okay, next. I think I turned my TV to some cartoons. Moving on. Back to COVID. So, this BC. So you haven't really seen friends, or have you?
Not really. There's maybe 3 friends that live in my neighborhood, and we've all been like, kind of like, we didn't see each other during like the entire school year, basically, or I should say after COVID hit. And then this summer we had socially distanced swim practice. So we kind of like saw each other again there, but it's
wait, press pause. What's socially distanced swim practice?
So yeah, my pool has swim teams. I was on the swim team. You know, I got to stay in shape. So anyways, it basically just they have dots for like where you should stand to get ready to go, and they're 6 feet apart, and you can social distance. And then the meets, you just time the people and then send it in.
Oh, okay. So you send it in for the meets. Okay. But other than that, you just haven't seen any. And guys, and how has that for all you guys? How has it been? Um, has there been a lot of Zoom meetings for you guys with friends and stuff? No. Has it been a lot of time of being in the house for you guys?
A lot of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody,
A lot of time.
have you gotten on your parents' nerves yet? I expect to see a
Most
lot of
definitely.
responses.
I
Most
have.
definitely.
Yes, we have.
I really have.
I've gotten on my own nerves, honestly.
Okay, yes. Okay. All right. So we're gonna go somewhere else. Speaking of friends, let's do a little theater talk. You guys have all been in theater, and even my one nephew down here who for some reason seemed to have forgotten all the stuff he did in theater. I had to remind him of it. What did your school associates, not necessarily calling them friends, because not everyone has a positive outlook and attitude when it comes to the arts, theater, choir, band. And I'm going to ask each person this. I'll start with you, Ricardo. What have associates thought or said to you when they find out that you are a part of the arts? And how have they treated you?
Well, let me start off by talking about so in high school, or at least on social media, they like to generalize groups in high school, and on apps like TikTok and Instagram, they talk about like theater kids, and they generalize them and they put them in the groups and categories and how they're like the awkward bunch of the crowd and things like that. And so when I tell people that, oh, I did this play, or oh, I got casted in this, that's usually where people's mind automatically goes when I tell them things about that, what I do outside of school. And I mean, I guess it's just part of being in school and wanting to belong to a certain crowd and not wanting to be grouped into another clique or group, and that carries on with humanity, as you see with people when they get older, wanting to belong to a certain political party and wanting to fit in. So I think that some people in the arts, sometimes they try to hide that part of themselves around school because they want to project a certain image when other people, they don't.
Okay. Same question, Sam.
Yeah, I agree like completely with Ricardo. It's kind of like the way it goes. I mean, like I listen to music with some of my friends, like, oh, you can go play show tunes or stuff like that, like just like different stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I guess that's like when you talk to like old people, they're always like, oh, you're in like a play, like that. They're like really excited. But like when it's with like people our age, it's like it's a little different. They're like kind of assume it's like a cringy theater like kid sort of thing.
Okay. BJ.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think for me, when I told my friends that I do theater, they were like, yeah, we know, we're in rehearsal with you right now. Because I've, at least in middle school, I've made most of my friends around theater and meeting other people through my friends that are interested in theater as well. So I think everybody in my friend group is pretty good about like in the realm of theater, I guess. Because we're all used to it because we all do it pretty much.
Okay. BC.
Yeah, so actually, this probably isn't a great question for me. because I like kind of don't really fit into one particular box. We were doing the Crucible this year, and I went from dress rehearsal to a football game. I came in all my pads and everything. I went from the dress rehearsal to the football game. So yeah, like it's just kind of, I have friends in a lot of different groups, and they kind of, they know me for who I am. It's weird because it sounds like I'm saying I have multiple different personalities, which isn't true, but it's just kind of like, they know me for who I am wherever I am. That sounds weird, but yeah.
Actually, no, it doesn't, because I say the same thing. Yeah. I jokingly tell people I'm schizophrenic. They're different wands, and it depends on where I am, which wand you're gonna get. So totally understandable. And Jerry's, even though you don't do theater like that anymore, you have been in school choirs. So, and you play basketball. So, same question.
For me, I don't feel like I've ever gotten like real heat or backlash from, acquaintances about like playing basketball or being in choir. Like a lot of times they just kind of ask me how it is, and I'm like, it's cool. I like doing it. And honestly, I started doing choir in 8th grade because I wanted to do more basketball, and being in musicals and plays, it just kind of, so it was time consuming. So I couldn't train as much as I wanted to. So I was like, I might as well just sing. So I did that, and it was for the past 3 years, it's been pretty fun, like meeting different people, going from Ligon, hanging out with those guys, and then going to Millbrook. And choir, it does feel like a family. And that's what I love about being able to like be in all these different things. It's like I have family here, I have family there. Like I have a lot of people I play basketball with, they're like my family. Then I have people in the arts, they're all my family, like Alyssa, Sam. Like we've been through a lot of plays together, and then I went to school with Leilani, so it's just good to be able to have like a web of just everybody around you that you can like turn to for different things. So that's like, just, I don't think I've really, been ashamed of anything I'm doing. And I'm glad that like I've found people who respect me for being in different things. So.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask the ladies. I asked the gentlemen first because they usually get more flack about the arts than ladies do. So Alyssa, same question.
Well, whenever I tell people that I'm into theater, they're not really as shocked. They're more like, oh yeah, I know I saw you in this play, or I know I heard it from this person. So whenever I tell people that I'm into theater, they're not really that surprised that I am in it. But I am also in another club organization at school that's totally different from theater, which is MBSA, which stands for Medical Bioscience Academy. And it's for people who want to go into the medical fields. And that's something that I actually want to do in college. And whenever I tell people that, they get that surprised look saying, oh, you're in theater. Why are you in MBSA? And I come back at them saying I'm an MBSA because one, I love watching Untitled Chapter ER on TLC channel. And two, theater is my major, but also I want to have something to fall back on because during COVID, tough times, it's hard making a living off of theater. Most people don't even get hired. So might as well join an organization that I love and that I actually think it's going to be a fun thing to pursue as a minor. And whenever I tell people that without the story of why I want to do it, they have that surprised look saying, oh, wow, I thought you were just into theater. And I kind of get that reaction saying that I'm not allowed to do other things besides theater because I do have other interests and things that I love doing. So it's more of opposite. I don't get the surprise reaction in theater, but I do get the surprise reaction when I am in a very high and very smart profession.
Okay. Chloe? Same question.
Well, I mean, theater's been a constant. I feel like since middle school, I've been known as a girl. I'm like, oh yeah, she does the theater thing. If you don't know Chloe, she's the girl. She's the girl who does the singy dancy thing. Like, yo, yeah, it's her. But so in those spaces, at least around people like my age, that's no big deal. Like I'm the theater kid. But when it kind of delves into the whole like, oh, I'm doing this as a career. Like I'm planning to pursue this professionally. That's where it kind of gets like, wait, what? You're doing what professionally? Or like I've done shows in North Carolina theater in the past year, where if I talk to people who aren't around that circle, specifically like older members of like more distant family, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be in this show. I think they're expecting like a little, oh, okay, like your little school musical in a 20-person theater. I'm like, no, my scene partner was on Broadway. Like it's kind of like it's like like I'm gonna like it's gonna be a career or people like this past year when I just went through the whole musical theater audition process. We're like, okay, what are you planning on majoring in? I'm like, oh, MT. We're like, you can major in that. You can, or the kind of not understanding the amount of work that goes into it. Because I, not to toot my own horn, but the amount of work that I went through for this college audition process probably has been more work, time, and money than people spend to get into Ivy Leagues. Just saying, because it's no joke. And so, and when I say that, people don't really believe it. They're like, oh, theater is just a little fun thing that people do. That's it. But I don't think people realize how real it is. Like it can be a career. It's not easy. Nothing's easy. But I think people kind of can reduce theater to like, oh, a little thing that you do in your high school. But it can still be more than that. So.
Okay. Leilani, same.
Yeah, I have to agree with Chloe because people just like Chloe said, if people don't know me, then someone will say, "Oh, she's the girl who sings," and then everyone's like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, I kind of get the same reaction. Like, I want to major in singing and acting and stuff, but people don't really see that can be a career, like Chloe said. So I'm kind of like mirroring what she said, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Now this one may be a tough one for everyone on this panel, but in the theater that you have done, Jarius and choir. Everything I say with theater, Jarius, you use choir. Actually, Jarius, use choir and basketball. Local theater, not school theater. Chloe, school theater too. Have you experienced or seen anything that you feel like was racially motivated? Raise your hand.
Can you ask the question again? I'm a little confused.
Have you seen anything that you thought it is kind of broad, that was racially motivated and that had a negative impact on someone? Okay.
I think I understand.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, and we're definitely calling you. So I got 4.5 people. All right. So let's talk to those 4.5 people. Sam, you first.
So I guess
you don't have to call names, just situations, and let's talk about it. Go ahead, Sam.
Okay, so like I guess like the way I have like two sort of things. I guess like the way I look at it is also an instance of like accessibility for all people. Like if you notice, like I can bike to my local theater, but for like people in Southeast Raleigh, which is also like a majority Black neighborhood, its theaters are also very far away. I think that's a measure of accessibility. And also like my very good friend Seb, he got cast the lead in a musical, and I was like, man, aren't you so happy about it? And he was like, I was talking about it with him the other day. He's like, I mean, like, I don't like look at it with so much joy. I was like, why not? And he's like, well, you know, they only cast me because they needed a black guy for this part or whatever. And I was like, oh, I guess I never really looked at it that way. Because I mean, I'm obviously sheltered and stuff like that, so it's different, you know what I mean? And so that was kind of like opened my eyes a little bit.
Well, did it make him? I mean, obviously, it was a little upsetting to him. He did he think he didn't think he had the talent to?
He felt like it was more of like a token thing. Like it was like, oh, we need to do this or whatever. But even if he's like not, like he felt like I was not really competing. I was just kind of put on there. So he felt like he would, like, you know what I mean? Like he felt like he didn't really.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Alyssa.
Okay, so this was more directed towards me and what someone did to me at my theater. So
Okay.
basically, it was a few years ago, and me and a few other my friends in the cast were all sitting in a green room backstage because we were not on stage at the time, so they didn't call us. And we were just regularly being teenagers, chit-chatting, talking about our lives, and all of a sudden, this guy stands up from his seat, goes to the light switch, turns it off, and says, "Hey guys, where did Alyssa go?" And everyone started laughing, and I was like, okay, that was appalling. But what made me more embarrassed is that there were two other Black people in the room with me, and he just chose to call me out by myself. And I felt very secluded. I felt like all the breath in my body just got sucked out. And also, this was a new kid. It was his first time doing the thing. I was there since I was 9, and a new kid decides to make a racist joke that he thought was funny towards me, and I did not appreciate it at all because one, he doesn't know me that well because he doesn't know what I would do. I chose not to tell the director, but I chose to confront him in front of his mother after rehearsal, and his mom made him apologize. So, like I said, don't do that because you don't come for people because you don't know what they would do. And he then direct messaged me on Instagram saying he was sorry. And I told him, don't make a racist joke if you think it's funny because it really isn't funny at all. You don't know what people are going through. You don't know how they're going to respond. And it's just, racism is not something to joke about. It's a very heavy and serious topic in general in all forms. So that happened a few years ago. And after that happened, I told my mom, she told me, that's how people think in the world. And they think it's funny, but, it's their different perspective. And I calmed down a bit. And it was something I had to really take time to get over, because I have experienced racism, but I have never experienced racism directed towards me personally. And that was truly the first time someone has actually come at me at a racist joke, especially in a theater company where I absolutely love, where I think is my family and I feel comfortable and safe, and someone does that. That kind of like tears the person down a little bit. He thought it was funny, but it wasn't. So yeah, that was pretty, it took a toll on me a little bit. So that's what happened, basically.
Okay.
Sorry if it was too deep and
Yeah. Wow. I need a moment. You had every right, the way you felt. That wasn't right. Sorry, y'all. You had every right to feel the way you felt. You shouldn't have been made to feel that way. You should have said something to the director. That's the reason why we're sitting here now. Theater's not supposed to do that to you at all, ever. But definitely not here. And to all of y'all, don't, under any circumstances, let anybody do that to you, ever, ever. you tell somebody immediately. I'm glad that you felt comfortable enough to confront him in front of his mom afterwards, but you don't ever let anyone do that to you. Y'all, I'm sorry, there's some tears in my eyes now, and I've told this story 2 or 3 times, but this happened to me, not in theater. You guys don't know, but this happened to me when I was young, and somebody sat on my chest and called me a nigger and said I was belong on the ground with the roaches in the dirt. And that's basically what I heard just now. But it was worse because you were in a place where you were supposed to feel comfortable with people you had been around for a while. So you really don't know how to react. You really don't know what to do. And you really feel like you don't want to say something to somebody. Don't ever let that happen. And if there's somebody around you that is happening to, you stop whatever. I don't care what's going on. You stop it, because it's got to stop, and it's got to stop with somebody, and it might as well be you. I am so sorry that happened to you. Okay, Chloe, you raised your hand. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. I know a lot of it I'm thinking about, I've noticed like in hindsight, a lot of other like microaggressions, like where something that never really was said by anyone, but it kind of just was. Things like costuming, just not inclusivity or intersectionality in costuming, like something as little as the color in people's tights, putting tan tights on everyone, not just like
You still need to eat dinner.
even yeah, or like character shoes, or like people's hair is styled, or how people with like either natural hair are told how to prep their hair to put under a wig. Or
Hold on a second, Chloe. Leilani, you gotta go. Leilani, you gotta go eat dinner.
Yeah. Well, I will see you guys later.
All right. Thank you.
I'm really sorry that happened to you, Alyssa. I'm not praying that should never happen again.
All right. Leilani's got to go, you guys. We only gonna stay up here a little while longer, guys. But thanks, Leilani, for being up here. Tell your mom I'm gonna give her a call, and we're gonna talk about what we got to do. So, all right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Chloe, you were saying because the tights thing you were talking about. Yes, I have seen that. That is, go ahead and finish.
Yeah, and even when I was like little, like late elementary school, this was on all levels of theater. I was like, why did they do that? I guess it was just for aesthetics. What? And now in hindsight, I'm like, it's because they didn't care. And I'm like, that makes me mad. And or things like character shoes, like Laduca shoes, like a really real well-known like dance shoes brand. Literally this summer, they finally made colors that were just not tan or black. They actually made dance shoes that work for everyone, and the fact that it took so long. Things like that I've noticed in theater. Or also not appropriately casted productions of things like In the Heights or other shows. I'm like, why did that happen? Or it's like in middle school, I had a friend who so incredibly talented. I'm not sure of her ethnicity, but not like, I think she was mixed race, but also I noticed she was typecast by the specific director multiple times in a show to be the promiscuous or the provocative one. And I'm like, why isn't she the romantic lead? Stuff like that, where I've kind of noticed in hindsight, like, what was the reasoning that made these people casted in this certain way? Just those are things that I've noticed.
BJ, you kind of raised your hand.
And now that I think about it, I don't think that really applies to this situation. What I was thinking of was a whole different conversation and a whole different question. So,
Okay.
Sorry.
That's fine. Let me ask this because I got some things. My mom wanted to ask you a question, Alyssa. Did you not feel comfortable telling the director, or did you think the director would do nothing about it?
Knowing the director, I knew she was going to do something about it, but this was like 3 years ago. I honestly don't know why I didn't tell the director. Maybe because I also don't have an honest reason, but there there's not a day there. I do some days regret not telling the director because she would have done something about him and would have given him like a hard lecture on that. And it's not even right to think that at all. I honestly don't know why I didn't tell the director. Maybe because he actually thought it was a joke and he was just kidding and he didn't want to like get in trouble. He thought, oh, hey, I'm gonna say this joke right now and maybe everyone will laugh. And I honestly do not know why I didn't tell the director, but there isn't a day go by that I do kind of regret. I do kind of regret not telling the director because the person that did it would have gotten something out of it. Would have The director would have told him to educate himself, and I think that's what's most important on topic of racism. So he genuinely did feel sorry after he apologized, but I do kind of have regrets of not telling the director because the outcome would have been different. He would have had a different perspective on racism. He would have not said joke at all. He would have got more time to educate himself on the topic. So yeah, there are, yeah.
Yeah. Well, a message here was saying if you're going to the director, go to your stage manager, and that's a definite as well. I'll say this to you, and this is not.
We didn't have a stage manager at the company.
Okay. Well, and that's understandable then. So yeah, the director. But I can tell you one reason why I think you didn't, and this is not pointing a finger. This is the same with me. I ran into a similar scenario. Remember in the beginning when I asked you guys all the same question, and I said the programming that we have is the reason why we say the nationality. When I asked you guys the nationality and you gave me heritage, it's kind of the same, Alyssa, with that. I had an issue where I was being called out for something. And when I wanted to address it, people were saying, don't say anything because you might hurt someone else's feelings or hurt that person's feelings. And my initial response was, yeah, you're right. But that person just called me out. What about my feelings? And and it took me a day to think about that, to realize, hold up, wait a minute. Because this person is not a person of color. People of color are telling me to spare their feelings, but no one is concerned about mine. And even I am telling my own self to spare their feelings. Like, wait, hold, no, backtrack. No. And you kind of did the same thing. You're like, well, he was joking, so maybe I need deprogram yourself. And it's gonna take some time. You got it, but it's like, wait, hold on. You can't do that to me. I'm better than that. I deserve more than that. And that's for everybody up here, black, white, otherwise. You can't allow anybody to do that. I don't care what it is, what's going on in your life, what you do, whatever it is in your life, you can't allow anybody to do that to you. It's not right. So now I'm trying to read some of these questions. Chloe, you were in a tech rehearsal for a show that you were starring in that never opened? What's that about?
Well, it was because of COVID. Alyssa was in it too. We were doing Wonderland. We were our high school, Enloe High School, we were gonna do the high school premiere of Wonderland, an adaptation of Alice in Wonderland, and I was playing Alice. And we were 5 days away from opening, and then quarantine.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm just reading the comments. Okay. Tokenism. Okay, so and I want to do BC on this one because I met Ben Cash. We were in Blood Done Sign My Name together, and when we were in that, he was shorter than I am, and now he's like almost 6 feet tall. So that's a dream deferred. So I know since then he has auditioned for many plays, and he and Sam, and there have been sometimes that they don't get cast because they look like they're 25, but neither one of them are. And they can't audition for most guys their age because they're 8 feet tall and they look like they're 25. But the other thing with Ben is his ethnic background. So, um, have you, do you have issues? Do you think you have issues being cast because of your native background?
So actually, I'm gonna be honest. I feel like it's more of like obviously. So we know about white privilege, of course. We have, but I feel like my skin tone almost is a privilege because I could be cast in many different ethnicities. Most people wouldn't be able to tell you. I mean, they'd probably say I'm white or I'm Latino or whatever it is.
Mhm.
I feel like for me, it's more of a privilege that I can play kind of all these different races. I can easily play a white person. I mean, my dad's white, my mom's some white. Uh, so I feel like for me, it's a privilege. But for others, if I was a little bit darker, it could be a curse, because you get put in these boxes. And like you were saying, tokenism. Uh, and, and yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, Sam, you plays you, and this is not actually not to the race thing; it's to your size. Has that been a hindrance for you going from the kids camp to adult theater back and forth?
Yeah, and so, in some points, yes, they'll be like, "Oh, we wanted to audition you for this, but you're too tall," or something like that, or "We wanted to audition you to this, but your voice was too deep," or something like that. Like, you don't pass as a 12-year-old boy or something like that. But in a way that it also kind of feels it's a hindrance, but it can also be good in the same way because sometimes I can play in a show where I would normally be cast as like the innocent little kid. I would be cast as maybe the young adult who's probably got a more dramatic role or something like that. So it kind of it can go either way. I mean, I would prefer to play an older role because sometimes I really didn't like playing like a little kid because when I was young, when I was little, when I was like the age like little boy in ragtime and stuff like that, I was like, oh, I'm too old for this or something like that when I really wasn't. But like, but I guess now I kind of wish I was back in little town because it was kind of easier. But
Less lines learned. Has anyone done any and I'm coming to you. I'm pointing to Jarius in a second, but you fall asleep on me. Has anyone, I don't know, you look like you were falling asleep, Jarius. You look looking like sitting down there looking like A.O. Wallace. Has anyone done any theater since COVID has started? What have you done?
I'm doing something right now, actually. The Big 1-0 at Interact. Yeah,
Mhm.
online. It's Cast Camp. Y'all should all come see it. Well,
How is
it's Zoomsicle. So it's all on Zoom. A lot of it, like the big numbers are pre-recorded, and then the scenes are and the solos are done over Zoom. It's really cool. It's really interesting.
okay? And BJ, what are you doing?
Well, at the beginning, I was doing Freaky Friday with Interact. And we continued for a while. We had only like a couple of shows left, but then we had to close that because COVID was getting too bad, and we were taking the precautions like you couldn't like stand around the lobby. You had to go outside or be in the theater. There were like seats in between everybody that came, so they were soon selling fewer tickets. but then eventually it just got too bad and we had to stop.
Hmm.
And I'm not actually doing anything right now, and I haven't done anything previously, but I am going to do Fun Home sometime in the future. I think it's August. I think we were planning on starting the rehearsals. Um, but yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay. So, and I'll get to that question I'm seeing in a second. So we'll get back to that. Tell me right quick. Oh, trying to think what was the question I have for Jarius. Jarius, this movie that you're working on. What made you decide that you wanted to venture into that realm?
Well, honestly, I'm working on like 3 right now, and I would say they're like more like short series per se, but I honestly what got me into it is I've always like imagined different like stories and all that inside my head and like just played it out and like dreamed about all these different adventures that I've gone on. And then one summer, like actually like 2 summers in a row, I just went to my computer, started typing them up. I started typing up stories, and then I wanted to just show them. I wanted to present them. I wanted people to like see them because books are good and I love books. I love reading books, but it's also it's also a different feeling when you get to see it. You get to experience it. Like you can see with your eyes, hear it with your ears. And so that's why I was like, I want to produce this on a bigger stage. I want to get behind the camera, get in front of the camera also, and just produce my ideas. Just get them out there so people can see.
Okay. Now I'm about to isolate this next question. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. BJ, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, is there any way to access those? Because I'm kind of intrigued. Or are they just personal right now?
Right. Well, all of them are going to be public soon. I got to get like all the pilot episodes together because I'm still editing a bunch of stuff. So there's like right now, for one of them, when I was talking about being stuck on editing special effects for it, that's one I'm stuck on. Another one I'm actually making some progress with, and I'm trying to get at least 2 because I'm been coming up with like different names for because I'm gonna have a YouTube channel. That's where I'm gonna just start putting everything out there. Like all of my short ideas, I'm just gonna put out short series after short series after short, like just a bunch of stuff as much as I can. And yeah, so it's all gonna be on that channel. And I'm trying to at least have 2 done by the end of the year. So they're definitely public. They're definitely going to be public. There's only one that's like private right now because I'm trying to wait till I have a little bit more a little bit more like dang, I can't think of the word I'm looking for. I don't want to say clout, but that's the only one that's coming to my head right now. So like I would have a little bit more clout in the film realm before I push this my last front runner idea out. That one's private, but everything else will be public.
Yeah.
Okay. So the question I wanted to ask is strictly for Ricardo, Jarius, and Alyssa. Do you think that there is more opportunity for people of your complexion or people of your race, your complexion, or people of your race with lighter complexion?
I don't really like for me I haven't really experienced that whole like realm of somebody being lighter than me, like but still the same ethnicity, getting more experience or getting more options. So yeah, I don't really know. I kind of
Like when you okay. People at home, I'm going straight family on this one. And this is and Ricardo and Alyssa, I'll come back to you. Okay, so nephew, when you with Julius, and it's you and Julius out, is more attention paid to you or Julius?
I'd probably say a lot of more attention is like bad attention or
Yeah,
because I mean, like
yeah, I know. That's probably Julius if it's bad attention.
No, I mean like are we talking me and Julius are walking down the street and like somebody thinks something. Like that's
somebody,
what I mean by
no, not bad attention. Well, just attention. Somebody sees you two walking. Who do they walk up to and talk to first?
Julius.
Some girl. Julius. Okay.
So yeah, okay then. If we're I'd probably say yeah, people of lighter skin complexion probably they not even probably they do. People would tend to be more comfortable around them because I like honestly for me I know that I kind of that not even kind of I've been told before like to some of the people that like when I first met at Millbrook, like people this one girl was like she said she was like I was scary or something because like before I even said anything and it was just like I mean and like I guess she was I don't even know what she was, but I know she was like probably around my skin complexion. So like it didn't really affect me as much as like if somebody like of a different ethnicity would have said it. So like I was like, dang, that's kind of tough. But it was like, I mean, it makes sense. It's America. I have dreads, I have dark skin. Like it just comes with the territory. And it sucks.
Whoa. So okay, hold. Let's go back because that's that programming again. And I know what you just said, but I want you to explain that to America. You said your skin complexion and your hair. What does that mean? I know what it means. I know what you mean, but I want you to explain that to the people watching. What is that?
Okay. So that means that there's more the stereotype, the personas, whatever, people already have preconceptions in their mind, and people with more hate in their hearts and people who are very gung-ho about being more dominant race have more of those stereotypes inside their head. And honestly, it's all across the media. You see it like the black guy with dreads or just the black guy in general, like whatever fade cut is always seen as like the gangster or the instigator or the dude who's always getting in trouble with like violence and stuff. And it's just, that's how America has portrayed black people in the last 400 years, just anyway. So that's, when I say it comes with the territory, I understand that I will get that backlash. I will get, seen as that. And I've been making sure as I've grown up, kind of looking back on different things and replaying past experiences, it's like, I have to make sure I remember my worth, know my worth, and that I don't let whatever anybody says like degrade me. Cause it's like, I've been reading this book by Dick Gregory, and it's been like a big eye opener. And he's I'm gonna go get it right now. Hold on.
I want to make sure his quotes are correct, people.
This book right here. Whoever's watching this.
Defining Moments in History, Reading Between the Lies. Dick Gregory. Hold it up because people are writing down the title. Defining Moments in History, and black is marked out. Defining Moments in History, Reading Between the Lies, Dick Gregory. Hold on, they're still writing. Let me know when you guys have got it. Okay.
We good?
Good.
If I knew you were gonna
Good.
picture it, at least I could have gone.
Okay. All right. We're good.
But-
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
So yeah, just reading that book, it's like we've been programmed for the past few years, past 400 years, to be like put underneath everybody else. To
Oh,
be
hold on a second. Alyssa, mute your mic for 1 minute. Okay, go ahead. Go
okay.
ahead, Jerry.
So it's like a lot of times, like I've kind of been having these thoughts myself. So he reiterates a lot in the book how it's like how you said, it's that programming. It's that, thinking that, oh, because somebody told me this, because America says this, because the media says this, like, okay, I'm this. Like, you take a Black kid who's struggling in school, then the teachers that, are within the program, because it's not just Black people that are programmed that way, it's other races too. It's like we all have our own programming, our own stereotypes that we've seen, and we have to start to undo that to become more of a union, because there's too much programming about how like we have to look a certain way, like any of us, how we have to play these roles, and it's not like that. We're all people. We all have different roles to play based on what's inside, based on our skill set. So like you have, back to the thing about having a Black kid that's, struggling with grades, but it's mainly because he's struggling at home. It's like nobody ever lifts him up, sees, because some people could see his potential and put him down even more. And that's what's dangerous too. You get somebody who's, kind of behind a little bit and just needs that one little push to lift them up and get that potential brought out of them. And a lot of times somebody comes through and stamps it out instead of bringing it out of them. So I think that's kind of a big part of it too. And it's just, it's sad to see, because like I've, like in all my years of public schools, I've seen it time and time again. It's like people are separated from the group in a negative way. And it's like nobody's actually actively trying to help them. It's like, we'll just place them here for now and let them fall by the wayside as time progresses. And it's tough to see, but a lot of people are still programmed that way. It's like they don't want to put in that extra work because nobody's taught them like, hey, you got potential. I know it looks like this right now, but don't listen to what everybody else has said. Like, you can do this. And then nobody's taking the time to, because once you see it that one time, it's like, I've done it before, I can do it again. So yeah, the programming is jacked up in America. It's tough.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I yes. Now, Ricardo and Alyssa, because he's a little different because his wasn't for theater. But you two, Alyssa, you can turn your mic on there. You two, the color thing. Do you think in theater, and the three of us were in Carolina Change together, do you think that light-skinned Black people get more opportunity in theater than dark-skinned Black people?
Absolutely. The first time, actually, I did Carolina Change 2 times. First time I did it, most of the Black characters in the cast had lighter skin because of the people, at least the people that auditioned for my role, there were more lighter skin available to observe. And that's the way that it went. And one of the other roles I had after that was made for a Black person, was made for a Black character. And so when I came in the first day of rehearsal and we were going through one of the opening scenes and I was asked to do something, and they were like, well, you're not walking a certain way. Can you try and get that swag, is whatever they said, they're trying to appropriate words. You're not walking a certain way. Can you walk a certain way? Your voice is kind of not deep enough. You're not pronouncing words like this. And I asked the director why, and he said, well, I was younger at the time, so I know what the stuff meant, but I remember him very vividly telling me, it's to compensate for some other things. And that's because I didn't fit the image of what he thought should have had that character.
Was this director
So-
black or white?
He was white. He was the
So you
older
weren't
white
acting
man.
black enough? Is that what he meant?
Hmm?
Were you not acting black enough?
Yes, I was not. I didn't fit what he thought came with the character, and I mean, I didn't think anything of it because that was the culture that was created. You know, we're kids. Like I said earlier, we're supposed to be seen and not heard, and you know, life just went on. But yeah, certainly, I think people of lighter skin. I got that role because I had lighter skin because there were more lighter skin people around to be cast for that role. They certainly have an advantage. In the Black community, colorism is a big issue. A lot of the like standards that we as a society say are beautiful come from Eurocentric beauty standards, the straighter hair, the lighter skin, and those people certainly have an advantage in theater as well as the real world.
Okay, Alyssa.
Yeah, I completely agree with Ricardo that in some cases, people with lighter skin do have more opportunities just by the way how I haven't experienced it, but you know that's how usually my thought process is, just by how people tend to go that way when it comes to casting or any type of form, and people think differently when they look at my skin complexion because I'm often dark. But yeah, in some cases, people with lighter skin do have more opportunities. But yeah, I agree with Ricardo about that.
Okay. Sam. I met Sam because I met Sam doing The Color Purple. Sam was with the guys. Jarius and Sam and I were together. And one of my jobs was to keep my eye on Jarius, and Sam just fell right in. So it was a de facto thing. And Sam just fit in. But obviously from looking at Sam's pigmentation is different, but he fit in there and Black nativity. Sam, was there ever a time, and I know you said earlier about, noticing the difference. Did anyone outside of the theater, because everybody I'm sure in the theater made you feel at home, but was there ever a time when anyone outside of the theater, audience member or other people, asked you why were you continuing to be in these plays with majority Black people?
Not that I can remember. I don't really think so. I mean, I think it's like, I remember like somebody would like recognize me and they were like, oh, I mean, I don't really think so. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't really think so.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna talk about. Oh, and something. Sam, I want to tell you something. Something I got to bring up to the theaters, and I never really thought about this because I live off of Sunnybrook, and I do realize myself that if my car wasn't working, I'd have an issue getting to theater.
I can bike the theater.
And I mean, I never realized there is no theater over here on this side of town. Everything is wow. So yeah, you're right. Black people can't see theater because they got to take a bus if they don't have a car. That says a lot right there. Future. Let's talk about the future. So Chloe's going to college, she hopes. I mean, I know you're going to college, but are you going to college? Right. When are you supposed to be leaving? When are you leaving?
Okay, so questioning. Okay, because since I'm from North Carolina, aka not good state for COVID right now, I'm going up to New Jersey, and so if school is happening, which I think we have to wait for the governor to let us know, I'd probably move in slightly over a week because I need to quarantine for 2 weeks before I do anything. So
Wow.
yeah.
New life. Who is about to be a senior? Anybody? Oh, both of you guys. Okay, so Alyssa, you first. What is that looking like for you?
Uh, for me, I'm kind of sad because, for as of right now, we're doing virtual for senior year, and ever since I was in high school, I was getting so excited about, senior prom and, senior picnic and ditch day and all the senior related things. But now, because of COVID, it kind of got taken away. Now, I'm not saying that it's officially gone. I'm sure they're going to find a way to maybe do it virtually or social distance outside. So I'm still having a little bit of hope, but I really do miss going back to school and my backpack and my teachers, the whole classrooms, yay. But yeah, I'm curious about how they're going to do virtual this year. So yeah.
What are your plans after high school?
I'm going to college. I'm leaving. I'm ready to get out of the house and I'm ready to go to college. Hopefully, COVID will be gone.
Your mom is watching this. I'm so sorry. She's ready to get away from you. Your mom. Where are you going to college, sweetheart? I didn't, Lord, you was like, I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of this house. I don't care if I go stand on the front porch, but I got to get out of here.
Well, I have been looking at in-state colleges. I've been looking at NYU, Pace, Western, Coastal Carolina, schools like that, Temple. My college search is not over yet. I'm still looking at, in-state schools so I can be closer to home. So yeah, I do want to go to an in-state college, so I'm still searching.
Okay. Thank you. Ricardo?
Yeah, same as Alyssa.
First of all, what is your senior year looking like to you, and then college?
Well, first of all, yeah, me and Alyssa were doing virtual for the first semester of our school year, so we had to make that choice early on to throw away half of our senior year, so we won't be back in school until January. So that's unfortunate, but of course, there's plenty of other things that are also going on in the middle of the pandemic. As far as after high school, I'm looking at school everywhere. I want to go to college. And in terms of what I want to study, especially during these past few months, I've been spending a lot of my time doing an online summer program with MIT and North Carolina School of Science and Math, trying to find what I want to study. And I think I'm probably going to be doing something in the STEM field.
Okay, after high school. Okay. All right. Juniors. Upcoming juniors.
Right.
Took you so long to raise your.
I mean, I didn't know upcoming junior.
Okay, so what does this upcoming year look like for you?
I have 3 AP classes, so I'm in the midst of AP summer work right now. And then AP summer work is not the moves at all. But other than that, it's trying to also figure out basketball seasons, and I don't know how our season is gonna look this year. Coaches have said that we are gonna have one, but I don't know if it's gonna be because I don't know if it's gonna be like a regular scheduled season, so we'll see. But other than that, I mean, I haven't really thought about all the other school stuff that I could do as a junior. It does suck that I'm not gonna be able to be in school, but at the same time, it's like a bittersweet thing because I feel like with virtual school, I have more time to kind of pursue other things. I mean, I still need school. I do. It's just that there's also like other stuff, my dreams that I want to go get. So I'm just trying to balance all of that. And I feel like virtual school might allow me to go get that stuff a little bit more. So
Okay. And I know it's a little early for you, but what are your plans after high school?
um it's honestly, I need to look at some more colleges because I had a few in mind, like Villanova and NC State, but those were some of it was basketball, some of it was just because I've been at NC State for like all my life. So it was like NC State, why not? They have computer science programs, and for a while I was into that stuff. But since I've kind of transitioned, I found those schools didn't really have film programs. So, and then honestly, my dad, I talked to him. We were just kind of chilling one day at the house, and he'd asked me like what I thought about college, and I was like, why I wanted to go, and I just said for the experience, also because honestly, everybody says you need college, so there's that too, and then I also want to play college basketball and just all that, and he kind of like for a while now he's been doing investment stuff and teaching me about that side of life and real estate investment, trading the stock market. So like I'm trying to put those things like under my belt and have like as a way to, you know, succeed in life. So when we were talking about that stuff, he was like, technically you really wouldn't have to go to college. He was kind of, he wanted me to go, but at the same time, he was like, he felt like he could teach me enough about real estate and the stock market to have me making money where college wouldn't even really be needed. So it's it's close, but at the same time, it's like not like a high priority. So I want to try and turn that around and like get back into it before the school year starts and try and do a little bit of research. But yeah.
All right, thank you. And y'all, we getting off at 9:30 because I know. Yeah. So, because Ben, I know you. BC, I know your mom probably was like, "When are you getting off this thing?" Okay, so 10th grade. Who's going in 10th grade? Oh, that's right. You are younger than him, aren't you? This is BC, and this is okay. Sam, what is 10th grade looking like in your world? Yeah.
Yeah, I have online school for the first semester, so that's gonna take up probably, yeah. And then I mean I'm taking like AP US history and in English and stuff. So it's like kind of like everybody's like in a standard schedule and stuff. I mean nothing too interesting, but I mean I don't know how any electives are gonna work out. I mean Ricardo and I took an elective last year together, but I'm not sure how that's gonna work out.
Okay. And again, I know far off, but what are your plans after high school?
I want to be a psychiatrist, and I always thought about offering like mental health help to people who normally don't have like the budget or don't have like location to get it, because I feel like that's kind of like a big issue in America. I mean, I think we kind of stigmatize mental health and stuff like that, and I feel like it's help should be accessible to everybody. That way, then that's not really a thing. So that's kind of something I want to do.
So you all at home know, Sam will be my therapist. Okay. Just letting y'all, I'm asking these, y'all think I'm asking these questions so I can let y'all know what these guys are doing in the future? I'm asking these questions so these guys can take care of me. Okay, just moving on. Ninth grade. Ben, BC. Oh yeah. What are your what's ninth grade looking like for you?
I mean, it kind of stinks. So I'm not going to Enloe, which it seems like a good amount of people on this call go to Enloe. But anyways, I went to Ligon. Obvious gateway would be Enloe. But I decided instead to go to my base school, which is Sanderson. That's where Miss Dula teaches. She taught at Ligon. So yeah, so I have some friends from my neighborhood going there, and kind of some mutual friends from like when I was in like second grade. So that's gonna be weird because I'm not really gonna know too many people. So it's gonna be, yeah, it'll be harder to meet people. I feel like, because I won't know that many people. Uh, but I think the bigger thing is, oh, also I have summer work for AP World. Uh, but that's not too bad. Anyways, but I feel like the bigger thing is that I didn't get to finish my eighth grade year. Like, obviously, senior year is a lot worse if you get that cut short. But like, but like my eighth grade year, like, we had formal, which is middle school, whatever, prom, homecoming, whatever you want to say, and graduation, which I missed both of those things. So that kind of sucked, but you know, maybe I'll have time to do new things. We'll see. I'm sure people will come up with ways to do theater in new and interesting ways. So I'm excited to see, because I've definitely wanted to uh, do some more community stuff now. Yeah.
Okay. What do you want to do after high school?
That's a loaded question. So right now, obviously this may change because I'm only going into my freshman year. Right now, I'm thinking attorney. That could change again. My mom was a federal prosecutor for a little bit. So I definitely get that from her, but that's what I think, trying to help people. But it can go either way, because sometimes the people you're trying to help aren't the people you should be helping.
Wow. Okay. I mean, ooh. Yeah, yeah. Okay, that right there. Seventh grade?
8th grade.
Huh?
I'm going into 8th grade.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I should have came down 1 year. Eighth grade. Okay, so I got 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. Okay, and 12th. Yeah, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Okay, and just graduated. All right. So 8th grade. Yes, sir. What does 8th grade look like for you?
Probably. I honestly don't know, because I don't know what kind of classes I got into, or how my setup is gonna be at all. So I really don't know.
Hmm. Okay. Well, and hey, not knowing is fine, because nobody up here really knows, to be honest with you. Not even I, and I have to go to work tomorrow. And and that's at NC State. Trust me. I don't know. Um, what do you want to do after high school?
Um, I I have this slightly elaborate plan of, because I just really, really love New York. That's just like my favorite place in the whole world. I just like the city aspect, how everybody is there. I mean, obviously not now because there's so much COVID going on. But I I haven't thought about this in a little bit, so it might not be as sound as foolproof as I thought. But I was thinking that I would like move to New York. I would go to the college there for acting, and then I can just immediately go to Broadway. But now that I think about it, that's probably not as foolproof as I thought it was. I might have to do thinking on
Get
that.
get out of the program. You never know. You never know. Get out of the matrix.
I'm doing so.
That's what. Hey, that's just she said that's what she plans on doing. Look at there. Look at there. Hey, the youngest one and the oldest one up here. Hey, that's what she's doing. So hey, but now Ben, the other Ben and I kind of were like, when you said I have this elaborate plan, we were like, oh, you might need that lawyer after all. We'll know what you plan on doing. So,
It's an
but
elaborate plan to sue the CEO of the Matrix.
right. You're gonna need the lawyer and the psychiatrist, and Jared's gonna need you to get the camera, and yeah.
We have a
Nevertheless,
TV show.
yes,
Yeah.
guys, I really want to thank you for these 2 hours. I was a little concerned myself. I was like, what am I going to talk to for 2 hours with these guys who are half my age? I was like, I don't have nothing in common with y'all. What am I going to talk about? But you guys enlightened me on a lot. I know the viewers were pleased. Sam, Jairus's mom said, talking about you being a therapist. She said, please take care of Uncle Juan. Anyway, yeah, you got to take care of your Uncle Juan. But you guys enlightened me a lot. I definitely appreciate this. As I said, I gained a new niece, Chloe. Yes, exactly. The rest of you guys, you know, y'all, I claim y'all all. And I hope you guys connect with each other. You got email addresses, if nothing else. You're all on that chain email. Get to know each other. And my last question, you all answer it one time. What is your nationality?
American.
American.
Oh,
American.
American.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to hear. You guys have a great night, and please keep me posted on what you guys do for the rest of the summer and into the fall. Okay? All right. Love you guys. I'll talk with you later.
Thank you guys.
Fun talking to you guys.
Y'all, see you later.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.